Hello and good afternoon, and welcome to all our participants for our fourth Human Variations eAF Q&A clinic session. So we are organizing these sessions to be interactive sessions where we can answer any of your questions related to the use of the PLM portal and your application forms. Of course, if you have any specific application relating to a specific product that you don't want to share, we can take questions like that via service desk or through other means. But if you're happy to share, we can also try and answer to questions like that during this session. We already have some questions available in a Slido where we will be receiving the questions through, and I will now hand over to my colleague Christina, who will explain a little bit how to use Slido and how to ask questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Christina. So first of all, a couple of notes. This session is being recorded and it will be made available via the EMA corporate website and YouTube channel. As anticipated, we will use the interaction tool Slido in order to collect your questions live. You can use Slido on a voluntary basis, and you may opt to remain anonymous. Here you can find the specific instructions in order to join this session. You can go at slido.com and insert the code you see here, so #2874178, or you can join via mobile phone through the QR code. As mentioned by Christina, you will see there is already a backlog of questions from previous Q&As. You can decide to upvote those questions by putting your like there, or you can send an additional question you want to hear answered during the session. I will be showing the list of questions live on the screen, and we will manage it live during the session. And at the end of these whole sessions of Q&As, we will also compile a Q&A document with the most frequently asked questions in order to address any doubts from the users. Okay, I will now switch to the Slido interface, so you will be able again to see the code in case you did not do it. So just a moment.
Thank you, Christina. And while we're waiting for Slido to come up, just to remind you, we will also, of course, try and reflect any responses or any questions in our user guidance to make those more user-friendly. So also, if you have any feedback you would like to give us, if there's any comments you would like to give us related to the system or any of the guidance documents available, you can also add such comments into the Slido. So it doesn't have to be just questions, it can be also comments and feedback. We're very, very happy to receive feedback to try and improve the system and try and improve the guidance documentation. And also to note, we have a couple of colleagues here also who will be able to answer access management related questions and PMS related questions when the PMS related questions relate to the use of electronic application forms. So not, of course, purely on PMS aspects. Thank you.
Thank you, Christina. I think we can move to the first question. Is there a training session recorded and uploaded for the PLM portal?
Indeed, there is, and we have just published yesterday morning on the eAF web on the eSubmissions website. There's a link to this recording. It is also available from the EMA events page and also linked from the PLM portal forum. So within the PLM portal, there's a page called forum. Under the forum, we will. It is a very dynamic and fast way for us to provide updates and information and updated documentation. So from the forum, you can find link to the recordings that are currently available. You can also find an updated release notes, the registration guide and the portal navigation guide. And we also aim to publish any notes and important information. So for example, this week we, in addition to publishing the information related to the training session and the recordings, we've also published details with regards to the postponement of the beta UAT for nationally authorized products.
Thank you very much, Christina. Okay, we have now here a question that is from a previous Q&A, so it was in the queue. I'm not sure whether this issue has been already addressed from this user, but let's go through that. So I'm having intermittent issues accessing Spore recently. Will these have related issues for eAF environment?
Yes, unfortunately, we have had two separate incidents related to Spore, where one was mainly impacting the OMS, and then we more recently last week had an issue related to substances in the form. So those issues do not immediately always impact the PLM portal eAF. There is a more direct impact in the eAF interactive PDF form, which is currently the form that most users are using, but because the data from Spore comes to the PLM portal via Iris, there is normally an immediate impact. Of course, if you need to add an organization while Spore is down, of course you can't do that because OMS would not be available. But if it's for example, selecting an organization that is already available, it's not immediately affecting the PLM portal.
Thank you, Christina. Is the UAT environment for national products already open?
Unfortunately not. So we have a slight delay with receiving the products from PMS. So PMS is the product management system, which is a tool which provides us products to the eAF in PLM portal. So at the moment we have the products that are available through PMS, and they come directly from SciMed, and these are only centrally authorized products. So we are now waiting for the load of the nationally authorized products, but there is a slight delay. We're currently aiming for end of March, which may or may not be delayed, to have a data release of nationally authorized products. So these products will become available in a UAT environment prior to becoming available in production, but we are not having a large external UAT for this data release. So the products will become available, and they will be available in a UAT environment. So if you have already registered into UAT previously, but not at this time. So we will be launching information when this happens.
Thank you. A lot of information seems to be communicated via emails and not on the EMA eAF page concerning training session dates. Where can they be found online? Okay, so maybe this I can take since I'm dealing with change management and communication. So yes, we are always circulating the information via emails to our targeted stakeholders, so those that are the most impacted ones and should know. In any case, all the training sessions are always published on the EMA corporate website. So in the events page, you will see there all the eAF related training sessions, and also on the e-submission. And as mentioned by Christina, we are now starting with the go live of the system using the PLM portal forum. So in the future, these will become our main communication channels with all the users. So please stay tuned, let's say, and look at this page, because you will also have the opportunity to ask your questions there. Okay.
Thank you, Christina. But we indeed also aim to always publish these on the e-submission website.
Web.
Sometimes there are delays, so the PLM portal is always should always be a place where they're also available.
Will we not be able to export an XML while filling the eAF?
No, you will always be able to export an XML. However, the XML export is part of the PDF rendition that you will generate from the system. So in the PLM portal eAF, we have built it and designed it so that at any stage of your filling process, you are able to export. So it's not, you may be familiar with Iris, for example, where you cannot generate the form or see it during the filling in process. Whereas with eAF, the form is relatively long with a lot of different sections. And we know that you may not be able to fill in the whole form at one go, or you may not want to do that. You may need to share it with a colleague. So you're always able to export the PDF at any stage of the filling in process. Once you have exported the PDF, there is then on your left-hand menu, when you open it with Excel, with Adobe Acrobat, you can see the XML attachment, and that's always available.
Thank you. Will it be possible to include products in a variation form from more than one MAH? Example in licensed products or later for MRP-DCP when RMS is creating a variation form for several CMS, different MAH.
Absolutely. So yes, this is indeed possible. It is possible already now for work sharing procedures that contain only centrally authorized products. So if you have two marketing authorization holders that work together, or have work sharing procedures that you normally do together using the interactive PDF eAF, it is also possible now using the PLM portal eAF. So if you want colleagues from two different organizations to edit the same form, they need to be affiliated to each other so that colleagues from MAH1 and MAH2 can both add their own products into the form and then co-edit it. This is also similar, will be also similar in future for products that has been authorized through MRP DCP. And of course, these scenarios that we currently have to do using the PDF, which is where you have products for centralized products and nationally authorized products, where you have to still use currently the interactive PDF, but in future you will be able to do all these scenarios using the web-based form. But for now, CAP only work sharings are possible using the form.
Thank you. Is it correct that a coordinator role is able to see every application of the organization and therefore it is not needed to assign as a co-author to see a specific variation?
This is correct. So if you are a coordinator in a coordinator role from your marketing authorization holder, you will be able to see all applications, those ones that you created yourself and those ones that have been created by your colleagues. So it is not necessary for you to be assigned as a co-author. You can see all of them already.
What is the purpose of Iris, considering that the PLM portal now exists too?
So we have two completely different and separate portals. So the Iris portal is for mainly products and procedures that are for centralized procedure or centrally authorized products. This in future will also have some case management capabilities. Currently, it is for orphan procedures, for parallel distribution, for inspections. And the PLM portal contains the electronic application forms. In future, we will also have the EPI, the electronic product information, and the PMS features in there, so the product management system. So all these things that are in PLM portal are also related to to nationally authorized products. And in general, in kind of high level, you don't actually submit the forms from the PLM portal. So for example, with the eAF, you fill in the form in the eAF in the portal, but you export the PDF and you submit it through a different channel. Similarly, when EPI comes, you will work on the electronic product information in the portal, and then you will export it and include it in your ECTD submission. Whereas in Iris, the working ways are somewhat different. You can make the submissions directly through that portal, but it was a conscious decision that the application forms will not be included in Iris portal, because Iris is branded for EMA procedures. And of course, when we're thinking of purely national application forms, for example, it would not be logical to go to EMA Iris, but we wanted to have a separate portal for these applications that are for the whole medicines network in Europe.
Thank you, Christina. Do you have an updated slide on the time schedule, postponement of the next UAT, and related postponement of release of version 2 and transition period?
A very good and very timely question. We have indeed been working on exactly that today. So we're just doing final adjustments to an updated slide, which we are hoping to publish very shortly. And it will then be available, of course, through the portal and from the eSubmissions website. So we're still finalizing that to reflect the latest information. This week, we have had a program increment planning meeting, which is a large meeting of 2 days, which is one of our safe agile ceremonies. And based on the timelines check, we are now reflecting these details in an updated document, which will be available soon.
Is the PDF export from the PLM portal ECTD compliant? PDF version 1.4 to 1.7 inherits Zoom and Fast Web View by default.
Currently, we are not experiencing any pass-fail failures from ECTD in view of the PDF export. We are looking, though, making some update to the validation criteria in the view of the implementation of this of the new web-based form, as there are some best practice errors, but currently it's compliant with ECTD.
In recent communication, it was stated that the enforcement period will start only after further capabilities are introduced. Could you please confirm what those capabilities will be?
Yes, certainly. So when we said further capabilities, so this basically means that it is all the functionalities and features that the current interactive PDF forms have, but you don't have yet in the web-based form. So as an example, for example, adding a new presentation. It's a very common type of variation, and currently it is not possible to add a new presentation using the web-based form, so we have to go back to the PDF. Before we can start the transitional period leading to mandatory use, we must make sure that all the features that are required for that mandatory use are available in that form. We also want to align the transition period and the mandatory use period, or the start of the mandatory use for both centrally and nationally authorized products, to make it more clear and easy, especially in the view of work sharing procedures. So there are currently some known limitations. There is a document called PLM Portal eAF Release Notes. It is available in the forum, and it is also has been published yesterday morning on the eSubmissions website, where you can see a number of known limitations that are currently still in the system. We have just solved one of our known limitations in the release that went live on Monday evening. hence the recently published release notes, which was relating to line extensions when there is only a single scope selected. So that has been solved, but we are solving known limitations one by one. Of course, this takes time while we're still stabilizing the system and we're still doing bug fixing and developing new features. But so I'm not able to give you an exact date when the transitional period will start, but there will be communication well in advance available.
Is there a list of the current open bugs and issues? How can we follow up and we'll know if an issue is solved or already reported by another company?
Yes, there is. So this is the document I just mentioned, the PLM Portal eAF release notes. You can find that from the forum. Um, the document is dated 12th of December and it's also available on the eSubmissions website. So this will be regularly updated to reflect open bugs and open known limitations. Um, of course, bugs are being raised on, let's say, daily and weekly basis. So there may be some new bugs that have not yet reached that list, but we're aiming to keep it up to date and ensuring that things that are relevant to all users are communicated through that document.
Okay, this is a question from past Q&A clinic. So let's see whether, if the meantime, this was resolved. So
It
RPI,
hasn't been resolved.
not yet. Okay. So this user is experiencing an issue. RPI cannot be blank for CAP products after product selection, save and validation. So this is still pending, Christina.
Yeah, so the issue is not actually related to RPIs at all. There's an error in the validation message. This issue or this error is given, error message is given in the portal when you have selected your product and you immediately press validate, or if you very quickly press save and validate. Unfortunately, there is some performance issues or limitations in the portal at the moment. So it will take some time for the system to look at the packages that are relating to that medicinal product until the system has calculated how many packages there are related to that product. Unfortunately, this incorrect validation message is given. So, in fact, it has nothing to do with the RPI. The RPI is indeed there. So, to kind of avoid getting this message, we recommend that you simply use save. You select your product, you save, you go to the next section to select the scopes, and normally once you've done that, you can return to the product selection section to look at more in detail of the products. For example, you may need to check if you need to select all medicinal products, because in some cases you may have difficulties identifying which you need to select. At that point, normally the packages are available. So this happens when you can see that it says 0 out of 0 packages available. So we know this is a known issue. We are hoping to solve this as soon as possible, but because it's partly related to performance, the investigation is taking some time. But it definitely will be solved. Unfortunately, I'm not just able to confirm exactly when it'll be fully solved.
Thank you. Okay, we have a thank you note to the eAF and PMS team for the Q&A clinic. So of course we are pleased to hear you find them useful, and we will have further clinics and training opportunities in the future. If I have queries regarding product full name integrating from SciMed, how should I request a change?
So indeed, we have some issues here. Normally, it should not be a concern. There may be some cases that there is an issue with the integration routine, so that, that the correct information is not reflected in the portal. But also, if there is a concern, you can raise a ticket through the service desk, and we will then address these aspects.
Okay, we have another question on the timeline, so maybe would be good to address it. I understand there will be no beta UAT for eAF with NAPS included, but rather we will have a go live and the start of the 6 months transitional period as soon as the NAP data becomes available for eAF.
Not quite. So there will be a slightly different approach. So we will have what we call a data release, which a data release means that we will be releasing or allowing the NAP products to become available in the system. So this is exactly the same form that we have at the moment in the PLM portal, but today you can only find centrally authorized products. This is because the products are not yet available for us from PMS. Once the nationally authorized products become available through PMS, we will be channeling them through to the form so that you can find them. But because this is purely a data release, so we're not adding new functionalities or features, these should already be included in the form. We're not doing a UAT for the data, because the data UAT is done by the PMS project. But we will have these products released into the system so that you can use the forms for nationally authorized products, including MRP DCP. However, there may be, and I can already say there will definitely be some limitations. So, for example, a bit like for the centrally authorized products, we're not able to add new packages yet. A similar case will be there for nationally authorized products. So we cannot start the transitional period once the products are available. We will need to have some feature releases, and that's when we will have another beta UAT where we will test that all the features are there and we're ready to start the transition for mandatory use. I hope that clarifies.
Thank you. Okay, since we are just missing a couple of minutes, I wanted to launch a very quick poll to you for you to answer. So the same code, the same link. We kindly ask you to vote. How likely are you to recommend this Q&A session? And then we have also opened an open text box, let's say, where you can leave us your feedback on the eAF and the PLM portal. So you're also free to send us any kind of comments, and we are reviewing this box, so we will take any comments into consideration. And now I want to go back to the presentation because we have a couple of appointments upcoming. So it would be good having a quick recap. Okay, so the floor is yours, Christina.
Thank you. So we will have, I think we're actually missing one very important session from here, which is the eAF training session tomorrow. So this will take place at 10 or 10:30 tomorrow morning. So there will be, it's a similar session that we have had in the past. So it's a training of the really detailed training of the different sections on how to use the form. And of course, during that session, users will have an opportunity to ask questions. We will also have another Q&A clinic next week on the 19th, which is the Monday, and then we will have one of these safe agile ceremonies called the system demo on the 21st of December. So the system demo contains all different value streams and all different products from different value streams. So there will be not only the PLM portal eAF, but there will be also information about the EPI, the PMS, and other products. So you may wish to also attend that session. But there we will give a high level overview of the PLM portal, but it's not as detailed as the training that we will be having tomorrow. So there will be further opportunities to ask questions. And of course, the Slido will remain open. So if your question didn't get answered today, we're also aiming to respond to those in writing, and then we can, of course, address them during the future sessions. So please join us for future sessions and feel free to ask more questions offline or online. Thank you.
Okay, so thank you very much, Christina. In the meantime, we will keep the Slido open also for the poll, and see you tomorrow at the training session and the next Q&A cleanings. Thank you very much.